Mr. Chairman, members of the council, I know only what I've read in the newspaper and heard this evening. I look forward to the workshop, and I'm not going to address the particulars of this proposal. However, there are two things I think that we should keep uppermost in mind. First, this is an extraordinary gift to the people in the city of Newport. As I understand the proposal, it's not going to cost the taxpayers a nickel. Secondly, how the city and this council handles the matter becomes extremely important. Now, I don't mean to lecture you, and I'm not going to do it, tell you how to do your job. You know how to do your job better than I know how to do your job. But there are three areas that will have to be considered and that are, I think, paramount in whatever happens in Queen Anne Square. First is the legal aspect. There is a deed restriction. It's in the deed from the redevelopment agency to the City of Newport, prohibiting the erection of any structures or buildings, temporary or permanent. The idea there was that the park should be open and should be a park in perpetuity for the people of the City of Newport. Second, when and if construction does start and you go forward with this project, it seems to me that the city will need a written agreement with the donors as to what is going to go on in the park, that the work will be completed, that the work will be paid for, so forth and so on. There are a number of details there simply that have to be worked out. And finally, upon completion, it seems to me that it would be appropriate to have a deed of gift of the project to the City of Newport. Now, all of these items fall into Mr. Nicholson's very capable hands, and I will defer to his professional judgment. Also, these things will require a little bit of legal work.
Time's up.
Emphasis on little.
The second thing that should really concern the council is the maintenance of the project after completion. Now, I understand the donors have made a generous offer to provide funds to do the maintenance, and that is certainly a very big step. However, the city needs to know or figure out, on the basis of whatever plan is accepted, how much maintenance will be required. Who will do the particular maintenance? Does the city have the capacity to undertake this maintenance, or, for example, will it be necessary to hire additional personnel, which I don't think the city manager wants to do. This will require some rather close analysis, but we have a very competent staff, and I think they're particularly competent to do it. There are some problems in any public area. Graffiti and vandalism are one of the main ones. We've had a dreadful example recently in a cemetery. But with graffiti, of course, the best way to treat it is to get rid of it now, not next week or next month. Who will remove graffiti? Will the materials used in this project be susceptible to graffiti, so forth and so on? Similarly with the trees, how much maintenance will the trees require? Does the city have the capacity to do it, or will someone else do it? These are details that you simply have to look at in advance. And finally, Mr. Chairman, Trinity Church is in the process of developing a master plan for their property at the upper end of Queen Anne Square, which means that the city's plan and the church's plan should be in harmony and should be consistent with each other. And that means that the two entities will have to work together and cooperate. I just mentioned this because we have an exciting proposal here, an extraordinarily generous one, and if it is done right, which I'm sure it will be done right, that it will benefit the entire city of Newport for many generations to come, certainly long after we've left the scene. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Simpson.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a quick comment. I believe that Councilman Simpson has brought up a number of very, very good points, and I invite him to come back, please, and make sure you repeat that at the public workshop. But there's one thing in particular that you said. You said that you're not going to tell us how to do our job because we know how to do our job better than you do. Well, you never acquiesced like that to me in the 90s when you were sitting next to me on the council.
Whatever you want, you can do.
As everyone knows, and Mr. Whitmer knows, elected officials sometimes think a different tune.
Thank you. Would anyone else from the public like to be heard? Ruff.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Councilman. I am Susan Ruff, 300 Gibbs Avenue, and also the chair of the Tree and Open Space Commission. I was very concerned when I first saw this approval of the resolution on the council, because we have seen no information come before the Tree and Open Space Commission. And as you all know, Queen Anne Square is a significant public park and open space. And as the Tree and Open Space Commission, we are your advisors on that, on those issues. But I was very pleased to hear that you are looking forward to working with us and Scott Wheeler. But I'm also very concerned about the process because it was on the council agenda. We have heard nothing about it. The original plan, at least as you look at it, as you look at the renderings, they call for the removal of the significant specimen trees in the park. Again, I was pleased to hear you're going to preserve them, but if you poke at the current plan, they show them all coming down. And I love renowned landscape architects. I think this is a very, very exciting project, but I also have worked with them, and I know that they like blank slates. They're much, much easier to work with than significant specimen trees and the kind of park we already have designed by Doris Duke in the 1970s. So I would really, really endorse your prospect of a public workshop and being very open to input from the public and the Tree and Open Space Commission, because as you all know, our urban forest is old and it's declining, and we need to protect it and renovate it, and taking out 20 specimen surviving excellent trees to make way for new plantings for a new prospect doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I'm looking forward to working with the Newport Restoration Foundation and a renowned landscape architect on Queen Anne Square, but I really encourage the process to work, because I have not heard about this at all or seen it or have it come in front of the commission that's supposed to be your advisors on tree and open space is a concern. So I want to be supportive, and I think it's a great gift, but it really needs some public input and support and work. And I'm just a little concerned about it's a gift, we either accept it or we can't accept it. I think it's a gift we need to figure out how to make it a gift for Newport.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ruff. Would anyone else from the public like to be heard? Sir?
Hi, my name's Thomas Palmer. I live on Warner Street. Don't represent anybody. I think that it's good to hear that we're going to have a public process, because I think this is a good idea. It's got all the right elements to it, but I don't think it's the right idea. And as a resident of Newport, I think what we're being given is something that will be good, but it's not going to be as advantageous to the local residents as we think it might. One of the points that the Restoration Foundation makes is that it's going to bring more people to Newport, which is a good thing. But as we look at the rendering here, this is a beautiful summer sunny day. I think that what we should be looking at is things that will bring people to Newport in the slope season or the off-season. I think there's some wonderful things that we can do to honor Doris Duke and all her contributions to the city that would not coagulate the downtown, and that would it would spread the season a little bit more. And so I just hope that you will, or I beg you to take the process of public meetings seriously, for you to keep an open mind, for the Restoration Society, Foundation to keep an open mind as well, that this is not a done deal, a freight train coming down the tracks that's just going to be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to be heard? Further discussion from the council?
Mr. Chairman?
Councilor McLaughlin.
I would just, in response to some of the comments, do we have some idea when we will do this workshop, and do we have some idea, should everything move forward, when the work on the project might actually start? What's the schedule? So we put the workshop in context to the project itself.
We have specifically been quite flexible with that. In an ideal world, we might like to start this fall, but we realize that this is going to be a public process, and therefore I thought that was probably not realistic, because you have to take time to work the kinks out of things. So I specifically can't tell you that. We don't have that on any timeline.
I would suggest
because we know this is a public project.
Workshop-wise, we'll look maybe hopefully towards the end of June, perhaps after the 4th of July holiday.
Sounds good.
Might work for you, and we'll arrange it around your schedule,
Great.
obviously.
Good, thank you.
Stick?
My name is Lily Dick. I live on Bellevue Avenue, Newport, Rhode Island. I just want to, as a president of the Newport Tree Society, wholeheartedly endorse and support the comments of Susan Ruff as chairman of the Tree and Open Space Commission. It's very important that we have our ordinances that protect that public process that the public expects. And I know from working with the public over the many years that they have many, many good ideas, and I am sure that the council is willing to accept them. I, too, am worried about Ms. Leonard's comments about we either accept it or we don't. I feel that it would be a sham to go through the process of having an open meeting and you know, sort of an open meeting. However, nothing would change. So I'm optimistic that that won't happen, that you will consider all the comments of the people, that there will be balance, and it is an exciting project, and there's no question that the public has the right and needs to and probably wants to be involved in the project so that they can be sure that it really works for everybody. And I look forward to that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Councilor Leonard.
in terms of what I said, the public process, as we all know, is part of this. And at the end of the day, which was what I'd like to reiterate, whatever is put forth with the public and working with NRF and so forth, it comes down to who's going to put the money up and when consensus is created to go forward. It's not, of course, which NRF also said they would not do, is to force anything upon anybody. It's a process.
Further discussion from the council. Councilor Neville?
In some ways, I look at this project and back to the resolution we put forward earlier about how that's a successful collaborative project, many different organizations coming together to achieve something. I believe this project has that potential. We have very strong people helping our trees in our parks currently, and they should be paid the utmost respect for their efforts and be brought into this overall development of this scheme. And we also have a wonderful organization that's come forward with this gift that could really, achieve a great thing for Newport. And from the city point of view, that question of functionality and creating something that we can maintain, that, that with our staffing and with our resources, we can keep this park looking like we want. I think those are the steps that we have to move forward with. Thank you.
Further discussion. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.